So I see a lot on like social media. Everybody's trying to convince you to become a business owner, an entrepreneur, and it seems like becoming or getting a job is seen as like super unfashionable nowadays, and nobody wants a job anymore. Everybody wants their own business. But really, the data says most businesses fail or they don't make a lot of money. You can make more money having a job. It makes, on average, it makes more money. It's way more safe. You work a lot less hours. Whereas entrepreneurship, you're working like 80, 100 hours, try to get your business started. Uh, you know, long hours, really low pay for the amount of hours you put into it. Lots of stress, high stress, no vacations, no benefits, no bereavement, no, yeah, I mean, you don't, it's, I don't know, no health care. It doesn't seem like a good deal. I don't know why it's so popular. I watched a video the other day from another YouTuber, which kind of sparked this whole idea in my head. There was a panel of girls, and they went around asking the girls, who would you rather date? A man with his own business that makes 75K a year, or a man who has a job that makes 100K a year. And they went around the table, and every single girl wanted to date the guy who made 75K a year but had his own business. And I just thought that was ridiculous, because why wouldn't you want the guy who makes more money, who has better benefits, who works less hours? I don't know. But anyways, let me go ahead and give you the facts and data and give you my opinion, and let's get into it. Okay, so I'd like to start with just the actual dollar amount of income first versus a regular job versus a small business owner. Let's say you're gonna start a landscaping business. I don't really know. I know like every comparison income video on the internet about entrepreneurship uses landscaping as a reference. So I'm just gonna keep the trend going and use landscaping. I live in North Carolina, and the average small business income here, according to the Motley Fool, is $45,000, $45,000 a year annually, or whatever. The national average for a small business owner income is $61,000. So for the purposes of this video, according to Motley Fool, average. We're not obviously we only hear about the high income businesses on Instagram or whatever. People making millions of dollars, people making hundreds of thousands of dollars. But on average, a regular guy who owns a small business, out of all the business owners who are profitable, the average income is $61,000. Okay, so for the purposes of this video, I'm comparing someone who owns a small landscaping business and takes home $61,000 in revenue after overhead. So he makes $61,000, and then I'm going to talk about sort of my job in North Carolina, where I'm a manufacturing associate and let's say I make $61,000, which is perfectly regular. Okay, so if I'm a manufacturing associate in North Carolina, at the end of the year, my total taxes and everything comes out to, I'm going to pay, in federal income tax, I'm going to pay $6,188. In state income tax, I'm going to pay $2,456. Social Security is going to cost me $3,782. And Medicare will cost me $885. So for tax-wise, if I make $61,000, I'm going to pay $13,311 in taxes, and I'm going to take home $47,690. Now I'm just going to, we get benefits through work too, which is a cool thing. If you're self-employed, you're not getting any benefits from your employer, and benefits are money. I'm just going to say I pay about $100 a month for health, dental, and vision, and like accidental insurance. I got all these things I'm covered under, and I pay about $100 a month for everything to be totally covered. So we're gonna say after benefits, my income's what, 46,000. Let's say the benefits cost me $100 a month, so it's $1,200 a year. So it'll be $46,490, I believe. Did the math right? Okay, so $46,490 will be my total income after benefits, after taxes. All right, so now let's compare that to someone who's self-employed. Now, when you're self-employed, the difference between taxes when you're employed versus self-employed is if you're employed, your employer has to pay half of the Social Security tax and half of the Medicare tax. So Social Security, your employer will pay 6.2%, you'll pay 6.2% of your income, your employer will pay 1.5 or 1.45%, and you will pay 1.45%. But if you are self-employed, you have to pay both sides of that. So you have to pay double Social Security, so it'll be 12.4% you have to pay into. And then for your Medicare, if you're self-employed, you have to pay 2.9%. So what happens is that side of your tax is double. So if we look on over, whereas the employee only pays $885 in Medicare and $3,782 in Social Security, the self-employed man will have to pay $1,769 in Medicare and $7,564 in Social Security. So the taxes are increased, and then, like I was talking about benefits, you don't get any benefits as someone who's self-employed. You're a landscaping business. You got to pay health insurance yourself, and I think it's mandated that you pretty much have to have health care, so you're going to be paying it one way or the other. Let's look at the average cost of healthcare. I'm getting the average cost or the monthly premium for an individual healthcare is $484. So whereas I pay $100 to be covered by health, dental, vision, all this other stuff, you have to pay $484 a month just for healthcare. That doesn't even include, dental and vision and stuff. So I'm just going to round up. This is a really conservative number, but instead of $484, I'm going to keep the math simple. And we're going to say it's going to cost you $500 a month to have, as a self-employed person, to have the benefits I have for $500 a month as someone who's employed. So we're going to add that in to the final number in expenses you pay. $500 a month times 12 months a year is $6,000 a year. So we're going to add that on top of the taxes for what you'd be paying. And at the end of all of it, if you're employed with benefits and taxes, after benefits and taxes, you'll take home a net of $46,490. And if your landscaping business, if you're self-employed and you have to pay the extra expenses of healthcare and benefits and pay all those extra taxes, your net income that you take home after the fact is only $37,023. You're making nearly $9,000, $9,500, something like that, less than the employed person, all because you wanted to have your own business. Say you're an entrepreneur, and mind you, I'm just talking about average of profitable businesses that have already been up and running and are good. A lot of, like, this landscaping business, it might not be profitable like the first year. Like, you got to buy the trailer to put your riding lawnmower on, and you got to buy the truck to haul your crap around. You need all the equipment. You have to worry about the stress of equipment breaking. If you hire an employee, you have to make sure he shows up to work. If it rains, you're not going to be able to make any money and work that day if it's raining. You're going to have to put off your other yards or whatever you got to mow and double up on the weekend. I don't know, but yeah, it's a lot more stress. It's a lot more hours. Things break. You're worried about other things. You have to depend on your employee to show up. Whereas I just show up to work. I clock in. I put in some time. I clock out. I go home. I don't even think about work. It doesn't stress me out at all. Don't think about it. Very easy. And I have so much extra time. I could start a little side business, or I could get a second job, or I could work overtime and make even more money. That's the thing they don't tell you. Like, the amount of time you put into your business, maybe you put 80 hours a week, maybe 60, whatever it is. If you own your own business, you're going to work more hours than someone who's employed. But if you put 60 hours a week into your business, making it profitable, and I put 60 hours a week into my job, I'm going to make way more money than you in overtime. And I haven't even gone into the slighter, more nuanced things of where, my work will cover $10,000 a year in education so I can keep going to school. I am, right now, I'm going to school full-time and I'm working full-time because you can do both, because I have so much extra time because I don't have a business I need to stress about and worry about. So yeah, I know this is obviously controversial. Most people only see the high income businesses that are people gloat about or whatever on Instagram, social media. And a lot of these people are lying. They're really not making any money. It's just like so preposterous. All the people saying they make $200,000, $250,000 as a, I don't know, owning their little book business or something. I don't know how real these numbers are. And a lot of times they use total income. They don't even like these Amazon flipping businesses or whatever. They look at total income, but they're not like talking about the amount of overhead and money they spent for the materials or the like the stuff they bought or they sold, like the on tail, the what am I saying? Like the e-commerce businesses are like, yeah, I brought in $300,000 a year, but it's like the stuff you sold costed you $275,000 a year. So you only made $25,000, and you got to pay taxes and stuff on that. Like you didn't actually make any money. I don't know. And a lot of people try to trick you because they want you to buy their stupid course on how to do e-commerce or start your own business or whatever. And I'm just saying, like, you should just get a job first and work on getting a good job, getting a good high-in-demand skill. If you have a good skill, you'll never really be without a job. If it's an in-demand skill, you can always just go to another employer. I mean, if you get fired, if you get laid off, just go to another employer. It's easy. It's easy. I don't know. And if you're thinking about going into business instead of getting a job, this is like the 61,000. That's the average amount of successful businesses. I didn't even really talk about how many businesses are unsuccessful. I mean, you hear that statistic where it's like 90% of businesses fail. I think that's pretty exaggerated. I pulled up some statistics. 20.8% of businesses fail within the first year, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 40% of businesses fail within the first 3 years. 49.9% fail within 5 years. 65.8% fail within 10 years. And 73.3% fail within 15 years, and nearly 80% fail within 20 years. So those are the businesses that says, those calls those the businesses that failed or their failures. But what counts as a job that isn't failing? Is it a business that makes, I assume it's a business that makes any money at all. So if you're making any money at all, I guess you're a successful business. But does that mean you're making $10 a year? Are you making like $50, like $10,000? Like what counts as a successful business? I assume an unsuccessful business is one that goes bankrupt or is making $0. But most businesses have a high capital upfront cost. If you're going to start a gym, you're going to have to buy the gym, buy all the equipment for the gym, and that gym business isn't going to pay itself off for like the first 2 years or plus. You got to go out in there and get clients, and you're probably making financing payments or renting out the space to, have the gym at. I don't know. You might say having a job isn't stable because you could get fired, you get laid off, make one mistake. But owning a business isn't stable either. It's much less stable. I mean, a lot of businesses you could be doing like 20%. Let's say $61,000 is like the average you made across like 10 years. Because the thing is, like, it's like your yearly revenue isn't the same every year if you have a business. Some years you make $20,000. Some years you make $100,000. Some years you make $50,000. It just depends on the year and the supply and the demand. And whereas my job, I'm gonna make $61,000 a year every year. I know it's coming. I'm gonna get regular raises, inflation raises every year. I can, get promoted. I can work my way up the career ladder. Usually you're going to just make more money. You're not going to make any less money. There's no real wavering. And I could get fired, and ideally I have a high value skill, and I can just go to another employer and get hired again. So yeah, there's everything I have on why you should get a job instead of entrepreneurship. I'm not saying never get into business or have any kind of side hustle. I'm just saying you shouldn't chase entrepreneurship from the beginning. It's a lot safer to get a high value skill and get a good job first. And the whole social media, everywhere, the internet, it's all brainwashing all these young people and everybody that they need to strive to be an entrepreneur, and having a job sucks and you're a loser if you have a job. Real winners are entrepreneurs. it's just this weird brainwashing thing, and I don't see very much balanced perspective. No one is really, you know, telling you to get a good job anymore. It's everyone wants to start their own business, and I think we need a balanced perspective. We need more people talking in favor of jobs now instead of, you know, gun ho entrepreneurship. So I just wanted to provide sort of a different perspective. Obviously, it's highly controversial. A lot of people are going to disagree, but yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.